around the world. And initially, the Nigerian authorities had fought to close the radio. Thank you very much. They had fought to close down the radio.
I'll take one day.
Yep. I'll just get that later as well.
They had fought so hard to shut down the radio.
Right.
But
So where's the radio based?
it's based in London.
Oh, in London.
In London.
Yeah.
But they couldn't. So the radio is still on. And our people and the radio continue to develop into local stations around Biafra land to educate our people and to get them to understand their plight.
Han will bring in a plate in a minute.
In Nigeria.
Yeah.
Because you yourself, you know the Biafran War, which is what we're here today. The reason for the Biafran War, the reason for the war is still present today. The marginalization, the exclusion, the systemic oppression of the Biafran people is still going on 50 years on. And that was what propelled Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to form this organization, IPOB, to see how we can liberate our people from that oppression that has gone on for years, even if not generations. So it is under that umbrella that we then continue to agitate for the restoration of Biafra. As you know, restoration of Biafra is not just restoring a country, it is restoring our identity and restoring our dignity and who we are. Because Nigeria, after Biafra was annexed, we call it annexation. What happened during the war was not just war, it was a genocide. A genocidal war that was perpetrated by Nigeria and their cohort to annex Biafra because of the enormous resources in Biafra. All right? So, and so it was because the reasons we are still there, and every effort we've made to blend in and integrate and to build Nigeria was not being recognized. Instead, we've been punished for that. And we say this generation of IPOB rose up to say, this is 2023, this is 2022, this is 2021. This can't go on. You know what I'm saying? So, and we say, enough is enough. And that is why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu formed this again. And we, his followers, we, his supporters, are saying, this is the right cause. Because if we don't do it, our generations to come, if there is going to be any, because the aim of this whole systemic generational operation was to exterminate a people. It's established.
Yeah.
Okay? And if we don't act now, there will be no us tomorrow.
Yeah.
And for that reason, they're saying, we said we want to opt out from this to be able to reorganize and organize ourselves to be able to stay alive and keep our generations, our culture, our tradition, our everything, because they are all being nearly extinct. And you know, a people with no culture, no tradition, no identity, no dignity, non-existent. We don't exist. So, and this is why we are saying, no, we must restore this country. Given that we are in Nigeria and Nigeria is doing all these things to us, we can't continue. Give us a referendum. Let us see if our people, with all of this suffering, want to still remain in Nigeria. If they vote yes, so be it. It's a democratic way of doing things this 21st century. So be it. If they say, okay, we opt out, I mean, you have to respect democracy. But Nigeria said, no, we're not going to give you a referendum. We will kill you. So as we stay today, as it stands today, the whole of Biafra land is under siege. Everywhere is Nigerian army and security operatives killing people, both in the bushes, on the streets, everywhere.
Yeah.
As slightest provoke or no provocation, you'll be killed. So that's where we are.
Yeah. Well, thank you, CJ, for sharing that, because that's a modern situation. But today, I think, was a day about the history,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
So it's a chance to hear about the history of Biafra, and I think Ed here was going to share some of his experiences of the war. So, what would you like to know?
Anything that he can tell us, because we're not present, we're not there when it happened.
Yeah.
So we cherish any memory.
Yeah. So Dad, tell us, when did you arrive in Biafra?
Yes.
There. What was it now?
1965, was it?
60 or 61, something like that.
Yeah.
But I went as a Methodist missionary doctor, and the hospital in Umahia had just been started. And it was given the name, it was by the obviously colonial people at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. But it drew together, it was really, the whole objective was to start training nurses up to standards that were set by perhaps nursing organizations back in England and elsewhere. But it would be could be up to as were national kind of standards. And we had a very able midwife tutor, and then who particularly was an ideal person to lift, to bring on Stanley. So Jean was came out from the Methodist Society in England and in Ireland as a midwife and in charge of the maternity section, and that was about, say, 25 in one and about much the same in the other. So it was a good, substantial, and that went. Now I'm talking to you as we saw it at that time. At that time, in the north in particular, the folk who had been colonial were being replaced by suitable African folk, and Igbo people in particular did well there.
In the north.
In the north. But sadly, that led to, say, jealousy and what would be the right word? Yes, jealousy more than that.
Jealousy.
Yeah.
Jealousy.
So that you might have known, will have known how even people coming back, because Igbo people from the area I was in were aware of the dangers and started to come back to both Enugu and Umahi and down to Port Harcourt. And sadly on the way, trains were stopped and people were killed, sadly. And
the Igbo people were killed.
And others, Igbo, and to some extent people from the West. I've forgotten the name.
Yoruba.
Yeah, were being killed, and smaller groups, smaller tribes.
Some tribes, yes.
And so that led to a feeling that, as you're talking, that Biafra needed to be, or this whole area needed to be independent. They probably didn't think necessarily immediately. It's more self-defending.
Yes, self-defense. Yeah.
And so I was a gynecologist or obstetrician in Umahia, at Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and
gynecologists, obstetricians.
or both, gynae and obstetrics.
Obstetrics.
But particularly for obstetrics. So we were able to build up a busy, worthwhile maternity section, one for unbooked patients who often came in real trouble, difficulty, and then one for people who had got into the habit of attending the hospital antenatal care. So building up that level. And Jean had been ward sister in one section, and we actually got married because I would have known her in the Ireland, and so on the day our daughter was born, Ngozi, or Joy.
Ngozi Joy. Ngozi Joy. She still bear that name to you today?
She goes by Joy.
She goes by Joy, but she knows and one of your compatriots who have been, there are a number here in this area, had pointed out, we took it as being Joy, but the more correct is blessing.
Blessing.
So on the day she was, Joy was born, if I got it right, the actual Enugu, way north of Enugu, got the name, the army, the Nigerian army began to move down
to the east,
and it caused great, because the word came to our nurses, young people, and they were so pleased that their ward sister Jean had just had a child, and there was great joy, and that's where we got that. It was from the young Igbo nurses in particular, both Igbo and Effiong, and as you know, it would do a number of different tribes represented there. So I, at that time, thankfully, because there are a good many connections between Nigeria and that part of Nigeria with Ireland, the word came back to Ireland that this was happening, and there was a good deal of spontaneous, or anyway, genuine response, and that was how Biafra concern really came into being. And the great thing in the Irish setting, you know, we're divided with Ireland, north and south, but it meant that both north and south people came in on that. And
on the Biafran case, yeah,
in support. Yeah. And I can remember that I'm mentioning names that would not be remembered. A chap in the north called Simpson, who was a Labour TD of that time, and through him we got a good deal in that hospital. We got help, particularly with milk, and I can remember along the corridor, as you covered a corridor, seeing milk being distributed to the different wards on occasion, coming in from the Irish point of view, both parts. So that was a worthwhile healing effect, oddly enough, of war happening there. It drew people together. So anyway, Enugu was taken, and within there's the main hospital in Enugu came down to Umahia, and literally in a fortnight we had 200 beds, and by the end of the fortnight about 500, because the staff came, and they were worthwhile people.
Voluntary, I suppose.
Well, they were in the civil service in a sense of the time. these are African folk, and so the surgical section of the hospital became very busy with practically all were African folk. There was one or two at different times as physician or so on. So that was a very worthwhile, important time. And but as that war grew and people came, particularly from the north, and as you mentioned, people killed on the way and so on. Sadly, the real problem then was not just war; it was starvation.
Yes, starvation. Yeah.
And starvation here in this part of the world, if it happens, usually is children, you know. But sadly, it was adults.
Yeah.
I can remember. Now, I wasn't involved with them because I was an obstetric gynae, but a colleague, and there was two in particular. Except John Longley had been a good many years a physician, and another, but these treating starvation of elderly people, just simply a swelling, you know, and exactly so, and that was at that stage because we were well south of the actual fighting that was going on, but that is very much in my memory of how, and it's sad to see this happening across the world in different places, not just children being starved, but in fact adults and so on. So those are some of my memories too. Now, is there anything else, David?
No, I think the history of the hospital is interesting.
Yes. The hospital did well.
Because at the time it wasn't a big hospital, you know, not of its current standards. I mean, now it's a huge hospital.
Yeah.
Well, it moved from 50, no. Anyway, it came up to about 500.
From 50?
No, not
from 100.
From perhaps 200 or about 200. Yeah. And sadly, there were people in bed, there were people underneath the bed, and out on the veranda.
On the floor?
On the floor. Well, they would be provided with some
mattress,
mattress and so on, but that was just how we had to respond to what was a rapidly deteriorating situation, yes.
So Dad, tell us about the history of concern in that. Because it is an interesting, I mean, it's interesting. Concern is Ireland's largest overseas development charity now, and it responded initially to a huge need in Biafra.
David has helped with the concern here.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully there was a response here. I didn't stay, you know, I would have come home every year or whatever it was, something like that, it was a year and a half. So I would, when I came home, I would, what was his name?
Lachlan Kennedy? Raymond Kennedy?
Raymond Kennedy and
Angus Finucane.
Angus Finucane was over as you know, there was a airfield built up in the west.
In the west of Biafra.
Of Yoruba.
Of Yoruba, okay.
And it became a very busy, a lot of aid came in the sense of food and so on.
For Biafra.
For Biafra, and I see as well as Biafra, the Yoruba country was also in the same need was starvation.
This is Jean, who is also in Nigeria.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah.
Good to meet you.
Good.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, you can. Yeah.
Hang on.
Hang on. Yeah.
Roger, nice to meet you. Nice to
He
meet
wants
you.
me to bring a chair over, Mum. I'll bring a chair over.
Jean's father was a Methodist missionary in Nigeria, and he translated in Ogoni around Port Harcourt.
Ogoni.
Ogoni.
So he was there for 30 years.
And
Who was there? Ogoni? Do you want to bring that chair?
Yeah,
come over here,
Mum's
please.
father was in Nigeria for
Can she come over here, please? We wanna.
probably comfortable there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay.
but he translated the Bible and other really for Ogoni. And
There you go.
now you tell David, your house is called,
Kana. So our house was called Kana.
and indirectly that had to do with
In Kana, Ogoni, yeah. Well, it was the area where he had worked. as
In Biafra.
Yeah.
Well, across now, yes.
Kana.
See, Biafra also took in, as you remember, across the river. There were Igbo people there, you might remember. And so, but Ogoni people were particularly around Port Harcourt.
Yeah. So it was obviously a much smaller tribe, tribal group than
Yes,
the Igbo.
yes.
The Igbo were the main group, the main tribe in Biafra. So the
Yeah.
Ogonis,
The clan.
they were all Biafra at
Yeah.
that time as well.
Yes. See, we were listening to a little bit of somebody talking about those days, how Colonel Juku was the leading person.
He was the leading person, yes.
And with him, oddly enough, was an ethic, or a bibio, so to
The
say,
video, yeah.
called
Deputy,
Effion.
Effiong, yeah. Philip Effiong.
And so that was a good thing. It wasn't Igbo alone.
Yes.
And that was worthwhile emphasizing. That there was a whole feeling across the South,
Yes.
Yoruba, and that I'm going into ancient history in a way. Zik comes into that, Zikawe.
Azikiwe.
And he was one of the people who set the idea of independence and freedom for really Yoruba but particularly Igbo country. Yes. See, so the way some of it, I'm telling you, is a bit mixed up.
Mixed, yes.
But I was trying to think. My brother was with us, and he was a teacher in Uzakale.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Uzakale.
Now, Brian is very really spot on, honestly.
And Uzakale at that time had a very big leprosy center.
Okay.
And just at that time, curative medicine for leprosy was coming in. And so the wonderful thing is, I think it was actually a colony, leprosy colony, might have had about 2,000 people, no numbers. But each year, there could come, then people were being cured of leprosy. And the thing is, you see, leprosy was widely recognized by public health people. These are African public health people. And but I can remember how the change, how elderly member going down to Zachary and seeing a day of what we're saying of commemoration, or because people were cured now, but handed a certificate, you're cured. I can remember elderly women coming forward, and one woman going forward because that in my time leprosy began to be cured. It was wonderful, and not of Lagos but the other north of Lagos, the capital there,
Djibouti.
North of Lagos.
Lagos.
North.
What?
North of Lagos would be
Yoruba.
Is it Benin Republic? Is it a different country?
no,
you're talking
city.
about?
No,
a city.
Lagos.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Ogun State or something.
no, the capital was a university capital.
Oh,
And the great thing
Ibadan.
Ibadan, that's
Ibadan.
right, Ibadan. And we had connections with Ibadan, kept in touch. And the great thing was two things. They began to, science had moved on. Curative for what was quite a common and dangerous thing happening, that women folk in pregnancy, there was one particular disease, now I've forgotten it, but these folk, it was a great time because these people were once they got this particular, it was disease was diagnosed, you knew that person about 6 months before they died. And here comes along, it was a wonderful thing, an effective curative medicine. These people went on and had normal family and so on.
Was this medicine developed in Ibadan University?
No, Ibadan was part of it. These medicine like that would have been working in Europe, in London, in America, and so on. But Ibadan was and in India and so on. But that's the way medicine
Was this before the Biafran War? Or
This was, yes, it was.
before the Biafran War?
But just in the year or two before the Biafran War.
Yeah, somebody's actually confirming about the leprosy?
Leprosy places.
Leprosy
exactly.
places, exactly. Somebody is confirming that online, saying his father told him about the
Working exactly.
No, exactly,
And,
yes.
sorry.
And one question I want to ask about that medication that came to cure leprosy was University of Ibadan or any local person involved in the development of that
Well,
medication?
they would have been the university and exactly. Not quite sure. They as it happens in medicine, moves on with here, there, and there. But it is published in journals and so on.
Yes.
So.
I think probably what you're saying is multiple places.
Multiple
Yeah,
places to
exactly.
develop it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Baton and also Zachary had their own place in that. The people were
For the research of that medication.
research and the practical use of it,
Wow.
showing that it was effective. Yeah.
Because there's a theoretical creation of the
Yes.
drug, but
Yes.
it needs to be tested
yes.
and trialed.
Tested.
And, it's not just I have a drug.
Yes.
It's clinical trials.
And do you know this thing you're saying to tell you what we are going through as a Biafran? Okay, those facilities were shut down.
We're all being shut down.
And the research center closed. So basically, people are still suffering from that disease till today.
Well, that's a
And
great pity. Yes.
all the effort the Biafran scientists put in place, the blueprint for their innovations,
Innovations, yeah.
and
Innovation.
inventions.
Invention, yeah, sorry.
All of them were completely destroyed by
Wiped away by
destroyed
them.
by Gowon. That would have benefited not only Nigerian states but also
Africa
even
and the world.
to Africa and the world. They destroy all those things. No science.
Yeah.
Just because they are all
So you will use the word "go," and I was trying to think of his name.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Yes.
So the reason why they did that is to make sure the Biafran people and the region are strangulated
Strong the company.
and everything terminated.
Yeah.
And this thing systematically have been going on systematically before the rise and the emergence of IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra, who now began to educate our people to say, look around you, this is what's happening. And now, after 10 years of this message, our people have now come to realize, oh my God, this is what will be happening. And now they are beginning to rise up. And that's why they have come back in to kill them.
So we wouldn't have any knowledge of that, you know, our experience or your experience of Biafra almost ends when you leave, you know, to a certain extent. I mean, you have some knowledge, but not, we wouldn't be aware of what is happening.
And I tell you, remember, I don't know if your name again, because I am very bad at name. What's your name again?
Ed.
Ed, yeah. Okay, Ed. I'm very bad at names. That's the problem with me. I don't know if you remember, at that time there was, even though there was, I mean, in as much as there was a food blockade, there was media blockade as well. So even the starvation he was talking about was not famine, but the BBC, which was the mouthpiece of the world that time, came and lied. BBC was the mouthpiece, where the international media took their news, if you like. They were huge those days, and they told the world it was a famine. Even in Ireland here, people that contributed money thought it was a famine. It wasn't until someone like me came here, when I was in university here, University of UCC, that was where I studied. During my research project, that was when I found out that this was the lie that was told. What happened was that it was a deliberate food blockade to use it as a weapon against the Biafran people, to get them to surrender. And they achieved that, because their aim was to exterminate them through hunger. And they forcefully surrendered to preserve the remnant of themselves from the war. And that remnant is what you're seeing here today. If not, we would have been gone, we wouldn't be here. And that's why when we met Joy, during our last meet, I didn't remember, Joy is your wife, I suppose, yeah?
Yeah.
You have two Joys, yeah? That's what I tell.
That's right.
Double joy. I said, when she mentioned about your dad, because we are looking for people, because we knew the Irish people were involved, both on the ground in Biafra land, to help our people, and even from here, the support from here. So anyone we hear where they are, we go. We traveled from Dublin to here to come and say thank you for what you did to what you did for the Biafran people.
Well, thank you indeed for saying that. Yes.
Because it is important that we appreciate those people that have done that to our people, to preserve our lives.
Yeah.
I don't know if your dad have told you a bit, even the story he's saying today. I don't know if he had told you about the deaths and the suffering of the Biafran people. It was unimaginable. And today you're saying you don't know, you're not hearing what is going on today. So the way they blockaded...
I actually, somebody from Dubai comes to help look after my, as a
Care nurse.
Anyway,
Oh yes, your home help.
the home help happens to be one of the folk is from
Biafra.
from Bavaria. And, his father, I was asking him, his father went off to fight and just disappeared. They have no memory, no way of finding out what happened to him. He obviously would have been killed in that.
Yeah. So there are a number of people from Biafra around Ireland and in Killarney and Kerry.
And,
As you speak, yes. He's one of them. He lives he has been living in Killarney for a long time.
right.
More than 15 years.
Yeah.
So the point I want to make is that even though we have all this social media today and we are present, IPOB and the new Biafran project is all over social media.
Yeah.
Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. And we are so much active around the world. Still, there is still that apathy and conspiracy to make sure people don't know what's going on today, as they did it many years ago.
Yeah.
And they want us to just give up and not tell the story. Imagine not being able to tell the story what your dad is saying out to us today. They want us to just sweep it under the carpet. And we are saying no. This generation is saying, no, it must be discussed.
I agree with you, but I would say, looking back, fighting and war is not an answer.
No.
And it was interesting, you mentioned the BBC, and that was true. They were not so much whether it's bias, anyway, that was their approach. But there were worthwhile people.
The word that was used mostly in the media was starvation.
Starvation.
Yeah, not famine, but starvation.
Starvation.
And starvation is the result
Of the war.
of a war.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
It's the
But-
result of isolation.
Isolation.
and blockade and
The food
They don't
airline
use
that
the real
blockade.
war.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't want to use the real war.
But the word I would have always heard in relation to Biafra was starvation.
Starvation, yes.
You know, in what I've read. But would you?
Well, starvation, it really was a blockage of
Yeah.
supplies.
Of supply.
Yeah.
And
And that's where the concerns of the world were flying those.
And it was
supplies in.
deliberate. It was deliberate, wasn't it?
It was deliberate, and thankfully there were those within the English setting, Cheshire,
Yeah.
Hansard's wife, and so on, who spoke out against it and were much criticised or so on. So there were, and that is true, is usually the way, isn't it? There will be the brave people who will speak out and point out that our policy is to blockade, and prevent. And thankfully, Concern was one of the groups.
Yeah.
But whether
And there would have been others as well. I'm sure the Red
there
Cross.
was actually quite a bit of help coming in from Germany. Wouldn't be
Through Ireland or through
through the same.
concern.
Well, there was an actual German group who supported rather parallel to Concern and so on.
Okay.
So, and thankfully there were some groups like that.
So the German group did not support directly to Biafra land, but they came through concern.
Well, they.
No, I don't think concern was necessary. It was established then, but whether they worked in parallel, I think is what you're saying. There would have been, like any of these situations, there would have been a lot of aid agencies trying to
Yes,
Support,
the
yeah.
people on the ground.
and there was it doesn't necessarily get much publicity. There was an effort support from Norway.
Yeah.
Norway.
Norway.
Norway, the dry fish, is it stockfish and everything? Yeah, a lot of them, they come from Norway.
That's right. And the Norwegian particular sent in fish, and that's practical support. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the support from the Irish people in terms of humanitarian
Yes.
support in Biafra was huge.
Huge.
Because it would hit the papers, and they did they buy a boat, or they commissioned a boat to go all the way. For a country this size, it's quite a big effort, and that and it became, at that point, it was it Africa Concerned, I think, was it?
So
Or was
from the start, it was Biafra Concern,
Biafra Concerned.
and they, as you know, they support right across the world now.
Yeah, it's over 20
They
countries now.
took the word concern as in different countries and so on. Yeah.
And I learned that RTE was also in that ship heading to Biafra, and that they didn't make it to Biafra, they had to turn back. Was that correct?
I don't know.
I don't know whether I would know
They didn't make it to Biafra land. They were instructed to turn back.
I'm
not sure.
don't know.
During your mission, if I may ask, during your mission in Biafra, were you able to meet the leaders of officers of Biafran government at the time? Were you able to meet Colonel Ojukwu or any of
Well,
those?
I remember Ojukwu. I remember showing him around part of the hospital at one stage. You know, there were
He visited.
seeing there were casualties.
Casualties.
Yes. Your question was there. Sorry.
Did you meet the military leaders?
Or
That was my
Ojukwu himself, the leader of the Biafran, republic at the time.
Well, Ojukwu.
Yeah.
I thought of him as. Did you not think of him as leader at the time?
No,
Yeah,
he was
he-
the leader, yeah.
He is the leader.
But I think he has answered your question.
Yes, so he did.
He
Yes,
did
meet
him.
Ojukwu, yeah.
And the concern organization, which we know is still active till today. I have this also concern that even though after the war, the effect, the after trauma, of the effect of the war, we have no record that concern
Was involved.
were still around because, after the end of the war, people were still dying. There was still no food allowed to come into the Biafran area. As an organization that was established, during this time of genocidal war levied against the Biafran people, why till this very moment, concern is still collecting contributions around the world, but the Biafra that are the victim of the establishment of concern has no office or anything at all, to remind us that they are part of the organization that actually helped the Biafrans. What happened? What sudden termination immediately after the war or during the war? I don't know when they left the Biafran soil. Did you know anything about that? Do you?
No, I mean there is a book by a man called Farmer which goes into the history of concern and will talk about Nigeria and Biafra. So that's probably where you get the most information. Farmer. Yeah, I can't remember I might be Believing in Action, but you'll be able to find it on the internet. If you Google concern worldwide and Farmer, you'll find it. But he talks about the origins of concern. But you see, some of those people were no longer alive. I mean, Angus Finucane, who was the person on the ground in Biafra, he's passed away a number of years ago.
Noel.
No.
Well, you mean Raymond and Raymond,
I'm
or
thinking Reese. He spoke to me.
Lachlan Kennedy.
Lachlan Kennedy.
He's alive.
He
was involved in the Biafra effort of concern.
He was very much involved.
Is he still alive?
Yeah,
He's still alive, and
Is he the one that lost his wife at some time
That's
in
right.
in Black Rock?
yeah,
that's
We went to that funeral,
Funeral,
I think, in Black Rock.
yeah. That's right. It was Kay, his wife.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
and Raymond.
Maybe. Sorry.
But the way, I suppose, to put concern in perspective, I mean, concern works with the poorest of the poor,
Absolutely.
and picks the countries which are the lowest,
The most of the need.
in need, and it works in those countries. And so if that's its way of choosing its countries it works in now. So after Biafra, it set up in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh became very important. So it basically has two sides to its operations. It has a development side and emergency side. What it was doing in Biafra was very much emergency, as you'll appreciate. When there's a war, it's an emergency. And your response in an emergency is different to your response in development. So, for example, I worked with concern in Rwanda. I was there during the genocide, and that's a response to an emergency. Your response is to help the people in need, provide food, provide whatever it is. My expertise was refugee camp design. but you'll also have healthcare, and you'll have primary healthcare, and cholera becomes a huge issue. But that response is different to your development response. Your development response is longer term, and it's also choosing those countries which are the poorest and helping them become resilient to things like flood and famine. And if war happens, your response is different.
As you being also a staff or that work in concern.
Sorry, before you go there, I just want to, the question you asked about the time of concerned exit from Biafra.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think I've seen a video where Gowon or the Nigerian authority, as maybe as it was, shortly after the war, they banned all charities. Everyone that would come back to support the Biafran region.
Yeah.
After the war, they banned them and asked them to all leave. So I think
Yes, that
would be the time they exited, and they had no leverage.
I wouldn't have any information.
That's what happened, and I suppose that
exactly, because for you introducing yourself as one of the staffs that have truly worked with them, it will be a very good opportunity for us to see if there is any reason, because in my own opinion, even we are still suffering the devastation of the war till this very moment. And I can imagine as of that time, people who were on the siege of extinction, if you like, basically that's the time we even need support, much more than even during the war, because as of that time, most of the charity organizations it's like we were deserted.
Yes.
And there was no more help. And even after the war, the Nigerian state, according to what my father and those people told me, and Nigerian government start going house to house, now start killing those Biafran soldiers who willingly surrendered, and families were decimated. And remember, Biafrans were given only £20 to survive as a family. So basically, if you have 1 million pounds, Biafran pounds in the bank, you are only entitled of £20. Now, for me, as a concerned organization that established during the course of Biafran war, they should have had an office, in Biafran state. Even till now, they should have had kind of their headquarters or something, because it was during the Biafran war concerned organization was established.
That's right.
So, but in that case, this charity organization was formed, and then whatever that the support that we needed, we didn't get it as much as we expected. And I don't know who to pose this question on. I would like to see concerned organization. And when I came to this country 25 years ago, I was contributing, because I didn't even know that they were involved in Biafran, air relief. But I was contributing, sending money through my account. At a point, I stopped, because I do see them in the city preaching and then asking people to donate. But my as you said, the concern managed to go to Bangladesh and establish office, I guess. But then in Biafran war, that took how will I put this? The hardest parts of war victim. We do not even till today, we have not had any communique or any report from a kind of
about their involvement.
About the involvement. So I know that maybe you're no longer. I don't think you're still working with them. No. So I was thinking that probably you may have a kind of idea, because definitely as a staff there, you may know some areas they have been to, like Biafra, and somehow your dad was also there on ground, got some information that will also help you to research more about concerns, activities, and how they exit Biafra land, what they did, and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
this is
because what Mazi, as we call ourselves, Mr. is Mazi, what he's saying, I think, is that we are very curious and eager to meet people on the ground. Believe you me, that's why we traveled from Dublin to come here. We all work nights. We finished night work 6 o'clock this morning, 2 hours sleep. Look at that one over there. He's losing there.
He will be your driver.
Jesus. And then we had to come here. And so concern played a very big part in this whole process of project during the war. It will be interesting, not just interesting, it will be worthwhile to be able to meet anyone from that organization that will tell us what happened. Because after the war, Nigeria blocked history. History was not taught in Nigerian schools up until last year. Since 50 years plus, no history. You know the way your children go to school here, they are taught history. No, children were not taught history in Nigeria. So nobody knew what happened. And the reason why they banned it was because of the atrocities that were committed in Biafra. They don't want people to know it. So now, the internet age, we are on the internet age, anything, you can find anything on the internet, on YouTube. So when we see those things, and then given that Ireland is where this concern is, and Ireland, like you said earlier on, played a very good role in support. So anyone that we can meet that can tell us real story, real account of what happened, for documentation, for our children to come, is so cherished. So is there anyone, even though you left, that you can link us to concern that is present at the moment, or who can tell us a story?
Who's still alive somehow? You know, it's a very long.
It's a long time ago.
It's a long time.
Yeah. I'm not aware. Except for the names we've mentioned already, I wouldn't be aware. But I will think about it.
The Kennedy family or something like that.
Kennedy,
Raymond Kennedy.
And Finucane.
Let's see, both of the Finucanes have passed away. Angus Finucane and Jack Finucane.
But again, we've spoken of it, and he'd spoken to me recently.
Lachlan Kennedy.
Lachlan Kennedy.
Was he involved that time as well?
Yeah.
He was very active in the start.
He would have been, very active.
Do you think you'll have some memory like that?
He'd be worth.
He would be worth talking to.
Very
fantastic.
I have a question.
Sorry, let me get that name again, please. I want to write it down.
Lachlan Kennedy.
Lachlan Kennedy.
If you were at his wife's funeral, that's
yeah.
And
any way we can get contact, you think? Are you?
I could look into it. I could look into see if I.
I'll link him with you then.
Do you know if Concern keeps record or documentation of the stories or history?
I don't know.
I think he did not work in the administrative department.
There is a question that somebody asked online here, because I'm getting them to ask questions, and the person was asking if you did you manage to meet any Nigerian military officer at the time when you were in Biafra land? Did you encounter them by any chance, or you met them?
See, when you say Nigerian, they're not. You mean not Biafran?
No, not Biafran. No.
I don't think I would have any.
I can't imagine you.
See, no Nigerian officer would have come into Biafra. So my contact, I don't think I wouldn't have expected him looking back.
Before the war, you would have, but that's but you wouldn't have known there was no Biafra, there was no
at
it
the
was
time,
pre.
So basically,
67.
So you were there before the war started.
Yes. He said that he was there
61.
61.
61, yeah.
I think 61. Where exactly you live in?
Osako, yeah? You're based in
Exactly
Osako?
just north of the main town.
Port Harcourt, is it? Or
No, it's
Umahi,
about
Omagh?
10 miles
Omagh.
out. And it was in the north, of course. What was it?
Omagh.
Well, Umahi itself.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, what's the question? Was
Did you
Where
meet
exactly
any?
you're living, you know? Where were your base?
I was based in Umahi.
Okay, no, here.
And see, because
Or
I worked in
or you moving around? Still?
No, I was very much working. Well,
You're only working really in one hospital. It was the Queen.
yes.
What was it?
The Queen was.
Well, I had been
Elizabeth Hospital.
introduced away over in Ibibio country to just as an introduction with a doctor there to get a feel of what I was likely to meet in
What was that? 6 months?
about 3 months.
3 months.
Harry Haig was the name, and a small. I took him back with a small hospital out there, north Port Harcourt. But no, I don't. I would be very surprised to meet any. There was no until the war was over, and.
I suppose the other thing to remember is Dad headed up the maternity hospital.
Yes.
You know, your patients aren't going to be
Yeah.
military.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's another question somebody's asking here, but I don't really know what he meant. Maybe somebody can help guide here. He says, can he also talk about the brave and brilliant men, soldiers were during the Biafran Genocidal War? I don't know.
Not the army.
Yeah, Biafran army, how brilliant they are and how brave and brilliant they are.
Well, my memory is bravery. Yes.
Yeah, actually, yeah. They said that you are very coordinated here. They are saying your memory is good.
Men who fought. See, we had such men in as casualties who came into the hospital and so on. But they particularly between Kanu and Onitsha, there was a time they particularly effectively disrupted a government group going across there.
Would that be you know, the attack, the ambush they were Biafrans? Is it in Osaka?
No, the ambush is in Anambra, somewhere in Anambra. The big ambush. What is
the big
that?
ambush.
You mean the one in Orca or the one in Asa?
No, it's not okay.
It's a big ambush.
It's a big ambush that pushed the Nigerians back. They killed them a lot.
Might well be something of what I'm talking about, yeah, or remember. Yeah. No, it actually surprised us as doctors that in fact Biafra held on, and after all they were getting government was getting great support from a professional armies and so on.
Another one I want to ask, I don't know if you're aware of it as well. A lot of Irish, there was some Irish personnel that came and fought on the Biafran side, and they fought along the Biafran soldiers. Were you aware of that? And
I was aware that there were
Irish missionaries.
There were Irish and there were other nationalities. These would be individuals.
Yes.
And I think I can remember one person who came into with some injuries, and he would not. I was not the. There was a team who looked after them, who were Biafran folk who had come down from Enugu.
Yes.
And So I would be aware that that may have been happening, but I haven't any clear memory of, because the numbers were small, I think.
Okay.
And just finishing now, was your hospital touched in terms of bombardment by the Nigerian side?
Yeah, that's a good question.
The hospital was very much in the town. The town was bombed, and it was buzzed. You know, a plane going over to
Flying above the hospital.
flying over, and I can remember this happened in the. There was a team working in the theatre, and suddenly they were all under under for safety.
Bunker, yeah.
Under the operating theatre.
On a table, on an operating table.
Oh yeah.
And did you hear of any hospitals that were bombed apart from yours? Did you hear of any hospitals that were bombed
Or attacked by
Nigerian?
the Nigerian soldiers?
No. See, that would have been in the. I think possibly the hospital in Enugu, but no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be reliable on that.
The reason why they did not, would you think the reason they did not bombard your hospital is that maybe they did not know there was a hospital there? Was it somehow, was the hospital somehow,
in Umuahia?
In Umuahia, was it somehow hidden?
No, because it had quite a bit of space.
It was a big hospital, it was a lot of land around
There was
it.
quite a lot of land around it.
Yeah.
And it was just south of the main hospital at that time. But
But it may not have been a target anyway, because it was a
no,
maternity.
I think
you know.
the target was on the town.
Yeah.
Just a quick one, because I'm also following what the comments people are sending out to us here to ask questions, because a lot of people are watching live here.
Yeah.
Somebody asked here, it says, ask him if the genocide was brought into Biafra land only, or the Biafran soldiers also brought back to the northern and west. So I think what I guess he or she was asking here, if Biafran soldiers, if Nigerian soldiers, the war of genocide was brought to Biafran territory only, or do you notice that the war was escalated to other either like north or west, or only in Biafra area territory that the war was engaged? If you are somebody who is on ground, we didn't meet the war, we're asking you were there before you actually told how the war started and what you saw.
The difficulty is it was only
in
Biafra.
absolutely.
Biafra, so you wouldn't have an experience about what was happening outside of Biafra.
As you see, I probably haven't got the right tribal name, but there were people on the west of the river who were with the supporting our
Nigeria,
the
Biafrans. Okay.
and I think they had no choice with them. I mean, they were driven back into, I probably overstated, they came back into the main, that whole section of the country that was attempting to be independent.
And how did you manage to stay safe in all of this?
Yes.
Well, I suppose being in a hospital, you're not going to be, unless they're really evil people, they're not going to be bombing a hospital. So I mean, I remember we came back from Ireland through Fernando, you know, the Spanish island, and flew in. And I must say, flying back in, I'd been on leave. I was fairly anxious and so on. But once you're there, you're busy. And that's the answer. You haven't got time to be, got too much to do.
And did you leave Biafra land during the war or after the war?
Sorry?
Did you leave Biafra during the war or after the war? When
did you left Biafra?
Well, I left just before the war ended.
Before the war ended?
I left, was it January? I think it was just, was that 1970?
70 years. You're correct, 70.
Yeah.
Just, I left and as it happened, the war came to an end a week or two later. Something like that.
Was it voluntary leaving or were you forced to leave?
Well, I suppose I knew that the whole thing was, I had the Queen Elizabeth hospitals, we took some of the hospital staff and north of us and set up a clinic there and so on. But that was already being pushed back. So I could see, and the town was being
Taken or something?
taken, so I just left.
To stay safe.
Since you left, did you ever come back again?
Have you ever visited?
But thankfully, occasionally we hear from friends of that time.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
fantastic.
well, thank you.
So you stayed roughly maybe 4 years or 5 years.
I
I
was
don't
there
know, in 9, was it about
Which year and which year?
61 to
from
70?
about
I think.
to 70.
It's 4 years, yeah. Is
But
it?
no,
It's more than 4 years.
61 to 70, 9 years.
9 years, yes.
Well, you allow for time and leave and so
Some time.
on.
Fantastic.
How old are you there during that time?
Pardon?
How old are you there?
How old? I was born in 1931.
Do the maths yourself.
So in summary, just a few things. I don't know. Some people are throwing some questions. I don't want to hold it too long.
We need to wrap up because,
You've done so much. Somebody is asking here, what is the mission of Irish soldiers? Irish soldiers, of course. We all know the mission of Irish soldiers. Do you have any kind of?
In
Biafra, did they come? They didn't come to Biafra, did they?
They supported the other personnel, like you said.
Individual personnel.
Individual personnel.
Okay.
So
Well,
I
it's
don't-
just voluntary.
voluntary. So the question actually, it's not him to answer that
No,
one,
because-
because he wasn't one of those frontliners. So this one.
Okay,
asks-
we'll take this as the
Take-
last
we take the
question.
last one, yes.
question.
Let's see if there is any last one here.
Yeah.
Somebody said somebody said Nigerian government and Britain. Oh no, it's not. Okay. The other question was who they support. Doesn't make sense anyway.
So,
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
well, thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming. We should get a photograph
Of
outside.
course, we will get
Yeah.
the reason why just want to speak on behalf of the IPOB leadership and the Biafra movement as we speak now, because if you go on, you can also go on the internet to look more of our activities, and IPOB is also registered here. IPOB is also registered here in Ireland, and we have a very good contact with the Irish government. So we do write to them, they do respond to us. Some any assistance that we need. We also Biafrans need, or those who are looking for political protection, because the law that Nigerian's government has now is to kill any IPOB, anybody identified as an IPOB in Nigeria. So our people are being killed on a daily basis now as we speak. So if you go on the internet, you will see it. A lot of people on live here watching this event today, because I informed them that we are coming here to meet a veteran who also helped Biafrans. So it's good. We meet. I don't know if you know the Smoland.
Sorry?
The Smoland, the Irish journalist.
the Smolan,
The Irish independent Evening Herald.
veteran journalist, is dead now.
He just
He's
passed
passed
on
away.
about 2 years ago.
No, 4, 3,
Is it 33? during the COVID. That's 2 years.
2021.
2021.
So we met him as well. I don't know if you have any documentation, any kind of pictures or papers that shows your presence in Biafra land. If we have them, we would also like to take some pictures and information. Because the Desmoland gave us a piles of documents.
Because he was a journalist.
Oh my God! So if you have some, we would like to take a look on that. But having said that, on behalf of Biafrans worldwide and the IPOB leadership, we just want to appreciate people like you who were there, who supported, who sacrificed bravely, as you said, at the heat of the war. Even with what you're saying, it means that you stayed there almost throughout the whole time until the war finished in 1970. I think the war finished around January 1970. So basically, you were almost there. So we want to really appreciate you because you are one of those that are still alive. So we just want to appreciate you. We are looking for everyone who is an Irish, since we are here, that also knows the history of Biafra and also who were there. So we want to appreciate them. I know some of them are saying that they don't even know that there are remnants of those Biafran people. So that's why we are here today. The leadership of IPOB is here. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is the leader himself, currently leader now, is still in incarceration. The Nigerian courts have discharged and acquitted him, and the Nigerian government is still disobeying the court order, illegally holding him when the High Court have discharged and acquitted him that what he's doing is self-determination. He has committed no crime. He has, hasn't killed anybody for any reason, and the reason why they are holding him because he's agitating for the freedom of his own people. And the reason why this Biafra resurgence at this very critical time is because the injustice has continued. That war of 1967 and 1970 has not ended. It's still ongoing. And our generation have come and we've been aggrieved now that this thing happens to us as a race, and they are still not allowing us to breathe. There's no road in our own area. There's no pipe-borne water. There's no electricity.
No factories.
No nothing. All we have as a race in the East is Nigerian military presence. That's all we have that are molesting our youth, killing our youth, disappearing them, raping our children,
harvesting their organs. Every evil thing is being done on our people. So, and we are creating the awareness all over the world, and I really also appreciate the Irish government for also supporting us in the little way that they are doing now. They show that they are there when you were there, and up to now, they are still with us. One good thing I cherish Irish people for now, one of the reasons why I take them at heart in whatever we are doing, and I have already made the appeal to the IPOB leadership. There will be a special status for the Irish people when Biafra is restored, because of their participation, their involvement, their support that they render to the Biafran people. Not only that, the Irish missionaries, they are the one that brought the gospel of religion, if you like, in Biafra land. Not only that, but when the war broke out, they didn't run away. They stayed and fought with those that they brought. This is one of the things that I see that other countries did not do. But Irish people, the Irish missionaries who were there, when the war broke out, like your dad, they never run away. They stayed with the people. They go through the sufferings. They also supported. They also send awareness, and the Irish people were sending also support as much as they can. And that's why we, anytime we see any Irish veteran who knows the war, we take our time. It doesn't matter where they are. Yeah. We want to go and see them and show our appreciation over their support.
And that's what we are doing today. Thank you so much for letting us in your beautiful home, and your son who also, and mama. Thank you so much. And granddaughter, I don't know her name. Thank you for the beautiful coffee. We want to really appreciate all of you for what you are doing. And I pray that God will bless this family for what you have contributed in our life. Your effort is one of the reasons some of us are still alive today. And thank you so much, sir, for what you did. We appreciate that, and the whole world is watching it. Biafrans, it's a lot of people watching it.
Can we clap for them?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we're definitely gonna keep in touch. We're gonna keep in touch, and anytime that is necessary, we can also. Whenever, sometimes we have our coordinator here in Kerry, County Kerry. We've done St. Patrick here. I think we have done one St. Patrick here. Is it? Have we done?
No, we're about to do it, but we didn't.
That didn't happen. So
maybe next time we'll be here.
So anytime we are in Kerry, definitely we'll check you out to see if you're around. Then we'll just drop in for a coffee. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And David, if you come across any pictures or whatever from Biafra, you can send away to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. And the Biafrans, you are saying that your brain is really intact. And I'm really amazed that you remember all these names after 50 years.
I'm telling you.
After 50 years. Yeah. It's really amazing. I don't even know the names myself of the areas where I come from. And he mentioned them here. That's a very great memory.
Will we get a photograph outside?
Of course, indeed. Yes.
And Dad and Mom could sit in the hallway.
All right.
And we could all stand outside.
Of course, yes. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. You have seen how it happened from County Kerry. We just got our veteran to tell us their history. Some of you who have watched this can come back and also look at it and get the information that this man gave us here today. It's amazing. It's amazing at his age, and he managed to deliver some of the history that our own fathers in Nyamwood and all the rest of them cannot give this account. They are only inviting army to come and kill us. Look at where, somebody who worked as a gynecologist during the Biafran war stayed until the end of the war, and look at his age, he's on a wheelchair, and he invited us to come down here today to experience this all important information, which some Igbo Ohanes and Igbo never give us any of this kind of information. They never give us. Look at what a far friend invited us in his home. This is what our elders are supposed to be doing. This is what our Ohanes and Igbo are supposed to be doing. Bring us closer and tell us the history of what we went through as a race. But rather, they decided to be killing us, inviting army. Now, the guy in Finland who is committing this crime now, they don't want to talk about him. They don't want to, he's the one declaring whatever that is causing the mayhem at home. But they don't want to mention his name. They keep attaching IPOB. 5 hours, almost 4 hours drive to get here. And we're going to take that again now. So, it's a very far distance. Thank you very much for watching us, and we're gonna take picture now. So I will end this.
We need to come up in the front before we put more.
Okay.
Wait.
So how is doing this?
Go on, everybody.
Okay. So we're gonna stay outside, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So this is the way it is, and thank you very much for coming around. So we're gonna have a group picture here, and then before we'll go head back to Dublin where we come from, and this is the father and the wife. They are very old. And they were able to. This is a blessing for us to be able to get this information from them, and we really appreciate them. This is very, very important. Biafrans, please send your greetings and your warm thanking to them for for inviting us in their home. Very beautiful home. This is very beautiful home.
We're going to
very beautiful.
You'll be okay.
We should be okay. Mazi,
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Take the photographs.
All right. Thank you very much for.
Well, yeah. Photograph as well.
No, give her to take.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you can all be in it.
Yeah, can I give you this
Yeah,
one?
of course.
Yeah.
I'll take both.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, that's good.
Are you seeing me as well?
Are you getting everybody?
Yeah.
Are you getting everybody, yeah?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Right.
Yeah.
Super.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to take one of this one as well, or is that video enough?
It's video winning. So
You wanna give him that one?
Okay,
Give
yeah.
her that one to do.
Yeah.
So that's why I can set it down.
I'll take it.
Great.
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
yes, thank you.
Okay.
So much, man. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much.
much.
Lovely to see you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Nice to meet you. Good to meet you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, fine. Very good. Excellent. Thank you very much. Super.
Yeah, one. I take you one picture.
But the thing so on the 15th. We are late here.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
If you don't believe for Baba,
Yeah, but
I need to take this. You're too special, so I need to.
Safe travels now. Am I going to correct here? Oh, yeah. Keep a short journey.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. You know, this is we. They say, as I wonder, I could have do more time now here. Yeah. Okay. So, as I do, yeah. As I do, kind patra na I would jobless. Look at what I did. I did. I only see now here now. Look, I did my hand. So I withdraw for here.
I'm way go ahead.
Yeah, so you see? Yeah, so our attack all this. So I will jobless people. So so once again I want to thank you so much for coming around, and I'm gonna see you guys in no distance time. I will give more analysis on this. All of you who ask questions, thank you so much for asking your questions. You know, and of course, this is what we are doing. These are the kind of information we're expecting from our people. We're expecting from our people back home, our elders, our Igbo or Hanes and Igbo. These are some information they're supposed to be giving us. Here, help us encourage us, speak for us, defend your own children. Rather, you now Gawazi to bring in the army in there. You are has officially. Defeating Biafran soldiers. Do you see what the man was saying? That the Biafrans are actually, you know, they are actually, you know, had, you know, brave soldiers, but they fought vigorously to defend Biafra land. They fought vigorously to defend Biafra land. Now, what they could not achieve, they are using people like Okebeke. They are using people like Okebeke. They are using people like Nyamodo. They are using people like you know, Ifeanyi Ubaha and all the rest of them, just to mess up, to hand us over to the to Nigerian state. But no matter what, we are going to get there. We are going to get there. We are not retreating. We are not surrendering. So we're going to be connected to more areas and more people who knows about what happens to us. He said that it's a genocide committed against Biafrans. That's what this man confirmed to us today. This man is in his nearly 90 years old man. But thank you very much once again for listening to me. I will see you guys in no distant time. We're gonna hang about your son. We can another 4 to 5 hours, approximately 5 hours to drive to return to get back to our base in Dublin. Thank you very much for joining us today. Share this and let Biafrans know how we went here today. We meet the real people. We show you real thing that we are connected. We are connected. So this is what we do here today. Thank you so much.